My name is DJ, and we are gathered here this evening to hear the sum total and the collective work of all of our poets over the course of this slam season, which started in August and has culminated in this event. This team will be going to Richmond, Virginia, to Virginia Commonwealth University for the 2015 Cupsy Slam. So let's have a hand for Cupsy, and let's have a hand for these poets. And while we give a shout out, a big shout out to UNC Asheville Slam team. Several members of that team are in the audience tonight. Alliance, and they will also be sending a team to Cupsy this year. Our sacrifice will also be coming from that team. So this evening you will hear from, in this order, Cameron Bynum, June, Julia, Matt, Ashley, Madrid, and Elliot. But before we get started, we have a big treat for everybody. So I'm sure if you've been on Facebook at all today, if you left your home, you know today is Valentine's Day. Time that is celebrated by some and loathed by most, from what I hear. I've never been a big fan of it personally. But I just have to say that this poet we have coming up featuring for us tonight is Love. This poet is Sudanese by way of DC, by way of New York City. She is a Cave Canem Fellow, a Pushcart Prize nominee. She appeared on season 3 of TV One's Versus and Flow. She founded the New York University Slam team that has won the Cupsy National Competition in 2012 and 2013. But without any further ado for me, let's go up for a feature this evening, Miss Safia El Hilla.
I'm very happy to be here. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys. I went to Waffle House today, so I feel a lot of love in my heart at this time.
Waffle.
Fact. The Arabic word hawa means wind. The Arabic word hawa means love. Test, multiple choice. Abdel Halim said, "You left me holding wind in my hands." Or, Abdel Halim said, "You left me holding love in my hands." Abdel Halim was left empty, or Abdel Halim was left full. Feiruz said, "Oh wind, take me to my country." Or, Feiruz said, "Oh love, take me to my country." Feiruz is looking for vehicle, or Feiruz is looking for fuel. Kulthum said, "Where the wind stops her ships, we stop ours." Or, Kulthum said, "Where love stops her ships, we stop ours." Kulthum is stuck, or Kulthum is home. Did our mothers invent loneliness, or did it make them our mothers? Were we fathered by silence, or just looking to explain away this gaping quiet? Is it wasteful or wistful to pray for our brothers in a language they never learned? Whose daughters are we if we grow old before our mothers, or for their sakes? They called our grandfathers the January children, lined up by the colonizer and assigned birth years by height. There is no answer because we come from men who do not know when they were born, who married women shown to them in photographs, whose children left the country and tried for romance and had daughters full of all the wrong language. Khartoum in the 80s, my mother with ribbons in her hair, dress fanning about her nutmeg calves, my father, who I hear was so lively and handsome that only bad magic could have emptied that and filled him with smoke. The borrowed record player, the generation that would leave to make nostalgia of these very nights, to hyphenate their children and grow gnarled by diasporas every winter. But tonight, Motown crackling in the hot twilight, mosquitoes swaying in the velvet dusk, my parents dance without ever touching. And now my mother harbors her country's music in her lungs. These songs, the only things she got in the divorce. There is a TV show we used to watch when we lived in Egypt, where a group of Sudanese youth sing old Sudani love songs. We don't get the channel here in the US. Tonight, my mother finds every episode on YouTube. After a quiet dinner of leftovers at the kitchen counter because it's just us two, my brother is out being 19 and popular. My mother and I sit together in the half-light and eat mango with our hands and listen to Asim al-Banna sing Fit Tayf, and I never hear love songs like this in English. Songs that are as much about a country as they are about a woman. Songs where woman is country. Before we grew bitter and learned not to make a world out of a person, learned not to make a world out of a country, because even your mother's country can betray you. My mother's country broke her heart, and I want to cry, picturing her eating mango alone in the dark, singing to herself. My brother and I, a world away, with our fast English and our hip-hop and our late nights. We are not from a world where love songs are like this. We are not romantic. We are not considerate. We forget to call. We do not bother to phone the cable people to ask for the channel of my mother's favorite show. We do not bother to teach her how to bookmark videos on YouTube, how to download all the old love songs into her iTunes, how to buy mango already sliced, packaged in neat plastic tubs. Instead, today I go to yoga in the morning, fry an egg for breakfast, go to a jazz show, then to an apartment in Brooklyn to drink pomegranate juice and flirt with all the boys. I have not heard from my mother in 3 days, or my brother. They live in Egypt. I watch the news and spend every breath of prayer in me on scraping their faces off the pictures of the injured, on smudging my brother's dimples and gap teeth off the crumpled bodies smeared across my television, on melting my mother's small hands and lilting accent off the gunshots marked maps, their drilling conquest through skin and fat and bone. I pray my mother, 5 feet tall and soft-eyed, away from the looters, from the salty rot of human flesh set ablaze by walls of buildings once called home. I beg my brother, 6'2" and 16 years old, away from the police, their batons, their thirst for the crack of weapon against bone, a percussion whose mere thought lodges itself like a talon in my gut, births in me a fear of music I never thought I'd know, the crackling of old records, a mocking echo of burning skin, fist hammering skull into the most breakable piano. This is not a vague political statement to make my Twitter look worldly. There are no t-shirts for this. This is not a poem. This is my mother, my brother. I've spent my whole life experiencing bloodshed in theory, from a comfortable desk an ocean away, without a face to put to the loss, no names native to my throat, just the people, an abstract mass of brown and bone and air. This isn't abstract anymore. I don't know where my mother is. I don't know if my brother is alive. There are stories of Sudan today, of tear gas, futile punishment for a culture suckled for years by tears and blood. There are stories of the festering exasperation of a people, of a generation that knows nothing better than the strain of bated breath against the throats. My cousins have been arrested for protesting. We do not know where they are being held. My cousins, no different from me before the fact that I got out, that I was born to the woman who escaped to America. This is all that separates them from a life of sneakers and poetry slams and short skirts and house parties. This is all that separates me from the adolescents in a police state, from women beaten in the street for wearing pants in public and allowing their wild curls to creep out from underneath their headscarves. So when asked where I was the day the world caught fire, what I was doing, while fate closed a skin-thick distance between my family's blood and the open sky, I have no real answer. I have Brooklyn, I have jazz, I have boys. Distraction enough to pretend that somewhere, in the gut of the storm that my family is from, blood does not pour in silken sheets, in oceans, tangling all the breath in my throat. Nowhere is America enough to distract me from this. But joking over breakfast one morning, my uncle and brother agree that they will make sure the women they marry are nothing like me. We laugh together. They then in turn bring home women who are nothing like me. Gentle creatures with quiet hands, soothing words perched and primed at the backs of their throats, hearts open and ready to be made homes of. I remember the joke about how I am not the kind of woman to make a home of. I remember now that it was not a joke, because my body is a pill, small, and love is the wrong man's tongue to tell me so. My body dissolves. My body finds men who are water and calls them home. My body is everything that happened to me. Love is a thing my body borrows to forget. Love is a pill. My body is water. My body is a tongue and love dissolves. Love calls the wrong man home. Love makes my body a stain and goes looking for water on the wrong man's tongue. Love is a house. My body is a bath drawn in floodwater. My body trickles in through the floorboards. Love is the carpet that I've ruined. Love is decoration. Love is an alternative to water. Love is just something to do until the wars start. My body is a border drawn up by some man long ago. Love is everything that happened in between. Love is the floorboards. My body is decoration. Love ruined all the carpets. My body is the carpet. My body is the stain. Love makes it all dissolve. Love is an alternative to home. Love is floodwater. My body burned to the ground. My body called the wrong man home. Love started the fire. My body is everything that happened after. The wrong man is an alternative to love. The wrong man is a map. Home is where he puts the lines. My body is a border drawn by accident, by the wrong man's tongue. Love makes scars on my body and calls them borders. The wrong man mistakes my body for a body of water. Love let the wrong man decide what my body mistakes for home. Love started the fire. My body is a house on fire. My body drew a bath in floodwater. The wrong man is floodwater. Love and the wrong man are an alternative to hating my body. My body is a body of water, poured over everything that happened to me. My body makes every scar an island. The wrong man makes my body small, a pill. Love makes the water, and my body dissolves. And when love flickers in the corners, it opens in me what I pretend is a need to confess, what is actually just a need to blame everything for my cowardice, this preference for men whose daughters will not have my eyes. Anyone who threatens to matter, who is not my preferred shade of disposable, whose shoulders are enough to tell me that I will succumb to the softness that I spent a lifetime coaching out of this body, this is the one that I will crowd out the door and say that I am protecting him from my love, from everything that it is not. I will say, a woman betrayed by her own body will never keep any of your secrets. I will say, most men are afraid of me, you know. Or I will say, in my culture, we do not take our men's names as our own. You have nothing for me. I have my own name, one letter away from my mother's. I know now how this body works, how it will never let a name go until it has taken it into the mouth and fed it to the breath. I still know, by heart, the phone numbers of the ones who have lied the most. It was they who I loved best. I let them name me in their language until I forgot every word of my own. Now every mouthful of me is gone, caught between the teeth of liars, who hiss when they laugh and will load a whisper with the kind of spells that can convince a girl that she is nobody's daughter. Or I will say, my mother and I are women who look like nobody's wives, the strong girls, inheritors of every bitterness of a country racked by war until it broke itself in half. We are the tapered points of a horizon line of women who learn to cook dinner every night whether or not the men come home, who spit their daughters out an ocean away to save them from this land that will drink up all its children just to show the stains off to the world. Lover. The whole world knows the color of my people's blood. Lover. I am a girl without a country, carrier of an ancient loss. Lover. I cannot keep house. I haven't enough language to name a child with. Lover. In loving you, I betray all the left behind women in my blood. I've left my home behind once already. I cannot survive another loss. Or I will blame my father. I will say, my father is a backwards glance. My father is a whispered breath. My father is forgotten and I have his face. A skull pierced by the eyes of a man who left makes me the girl who leaves. These are the heirlooms that I've got. My father is a stranger. Every man is a stranger. Once, I let a stranger introduce himself with his hands. I've been trying to remember my own name ever since. I do not always survive across borders. I pull sweet blue smoke from a coiled hookah pipe, and do you know I once lay bleeding, painted all in gold. You need not find me beautiful. Mixed with water, my edges dull. Here I am, little dagger, ready to make home of your shirt pocket. Answer me. Answer me. When I met you, I had so many secrets, all tucked up in my skull where I like to hide myself. You lured me out here, promised you'd sing to me all the time, but now you're all out of breath. washed me all out of your breath. You treat my name now like a foreign thing, a finished song, the dead language that you studied when you thought it meant you were a scholar, until you found out that I couldn't make a scholar out of you, couldn't make a scribe out of you. And what is a lover when held up against all these important things? What is a song like me compared to all the other important things you could be doing with your breath? That's okay. I know that I am not a language, just a strange girl borrowing words for boys like you to make into music. You just made language sound so much like music that I thought you had a song for me, thought I, with a song for you, is secret, whispered onto the nape of a lover's neck, safe in the dip of a lover's ear, pulled in the hollow of a collarbone to call home and stay a while. But languages die out when we forget the words. You forgot me, and it's so quiet now. The lyrics do not translate. Arabic is all verbs for what stays still in other languages. Tasbah, to morning, with the translation to awake, cannot honor, cannot contain its rhyme with tasbah, to swim, to make the night a body of water. I am here now and I cannot mourn. I am 24 and always sick, small for my age and always translating. I cannot sleep through the night. No language has given me the rhyme between ocean and wound that I know to be true. Sometimes, when the doctors draw my useless blood, I feel the word at the tip of my tongue. Abd al-Halim sings aghraq, aghraq. I am drowning, I am drowning. The single word for all the water in his throat does not translate. Abd al-Halim sings, teach me to kill the tear in its duct. Abd al-Halim sings, I have no experience in love, nor have I a boat, and I know he cannot rest, cannot swim through the night. I am looking for a voice with a wound in it, a man who could only have died by a form of drowning. Let the song take its time. Let the ocean close back up. Hey, mister, I met you at a time when my life needed saving, and still I found a little room to save a little room for you, but forgot to save some for myself, forgot to save myself, thought that loving you would save my life, thought that you would save my life just because it needed saving. And just because you were my life, I thought that you would save it. Thought you would be the kind of man who would know how to save himself, but you couldn't even save me, and I'm just a little girl, you know? It doesn't take that much saving to save me, it doesn't take that much room to save me, it doesn't take that much to save a little room for me. I'm just a little room, all empty now ever since I crawled out of myself to make a little room for you. I was a little room for you. But my mama raised a house, raised a palace, raised a sky, raised a thunderstorm. You are just a little room, mister. And no, you can't touch my hair. That's where I keep all my secrets, all my black girl magic secrets, all my black girl rage and secrets. Oh, you think I'm mixed? I'll tell you a funny story. It's about men on horseback and what they did to my people. Here's a spoiler. My skin tone is the punchline. Did our mothers invent loneliness, or did it make them our mothers? Were we fathered by silence, or just looking to explain away this gaping quiet? Is it wasteful or wistful to pray for our brothers in a language they never learned? Whose daughters are we if we grow old before our mothers, or for their sakes? They called our grandfathers the January children, lined up by the colonizer and assigned birth years by height. There is no answer because we come from men who do not know when they were born, who married women shown to them in photographs, whose children left the country and tried for romance and had daughters full of all the wrong language. Thank you guys so much.
Let's get it one more time for Safia Hilla. She's a fantastic human being, an awesome poet, and we are so very thankful that she was able to come out here and feature for us tonight. So who's ready to hear some more poetry? I could not hear you. I said, who's ready to hear some more poetry?
More poetry, please.
That is much better. There's no hype. I get hard of hearing. It's very difficult for me. You're going to bear with me. So, before we get started, I got to lay a few ground rules. So what we say is that poetry is not like golf.
No, it's not.
Baseball. No.
Quiet.
I don't watch baseball, so I don't know. It's not like golf. And what we mean by that is you do not listen to an entire poem in complete dead silence and then give a little golf clap at the end. We do clap at the end, but we do not golf clap. We clap hard at the end for every poet coming on stage and getting off stage. This is an exceedingly difficult thing for someone to get up here and do. And it's something that we do by drawing from the energy of the audience. And so, first rule is every poet coming on stage and getting off the stage gets love. Let me get your best round of applause. Yeah! Anyway, but during the poem, obviously you heard that was a lot of noise, a lot of rumble. During the poem, what do we do to show that when we hear something we like? You may have heard people doing it. We snap. And we don't just snap because if everybody snaps, it sounds like a rain stick to put out this fire you hear up here. We snap because, yeah, I just made it up, Aaron. I'm impressed with it too.
You a poet or something?
Right, it's like I do this or something. Anyway, we snap so that we can, after we hear something we like, you hear the next thing. You might like something else, something else, something else. We also tend to stomp our feet, make little monosyllabic noises. Can we get your best monosyllabic noise? Oh! The point of it was to be quiet, Jackson. That was a noise and it was monosyllabic, so I can't be that upset. Anyway, as I said earlier, we're here for a Poetry Slam. Poetry Slam is a competitive form of spoken word that was started in Chicago in the 1980s by a construction worker named Mark Smith. So what? So as this side of the audience said, when we hear Mark Smith's name, we say, so what? Because as he says, it is not about him, it is about the poetry. And we have some rules here for this competition. Every poem has no props, no music, no costumes. Each poem is 3 minutes, and we have a 10-second grace period. I have tapped 5 people in the audience to be judges, and the judges need to pay very close attention because I'm about to explain your job, what you do, and how that works. So, all 5 judges with scoreboards up. You test if you were listening, awesome. So those are 5 judges, and you will listen to the poem, and you will give the poem a score from a 0.0 to a 10.0 with 1 decimal place to prevent ties. A 0.0 poem is, you listen to the poem, and before you can decide a score, the rock comes into the room, walks up to you, and slaps you senseless. Yeah. That is a 0.0. A 10.0 is, you hear the poem, you check your pocket, you find a voucher for free burritos for life from Banditos. That is a 10.0. The chances of either of these happening are exceedingly low, though not theoretically impossible. So you're probably going to be somewhere in between. You're going to be 6.8, 8.3, 9.9. One of the kind of ground rules we give is to do 5 points for writing, 5 points for performance, but really whatever moves you, that's how you should score it. Judges, in this part, I cannot stress enough. Do not be swayed by the audience. We chose you. You're surrounded by a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about, don't have the sense of Thena gave a billy goat. It is your job to judge these poems, and you do that absolutely. I thought it was God, it's actually you guys. Audience, do everything in your human power to sway those judges. Get loud. Be loud when you hear a poem you like. Do not stop clapping. Do whatever it is you need to do to sway these judges. And like I said before, every poet coming on the stage and off the stage gets love. We never, under any circumstances, ever boo a poet. However, if you need to get some of the hate out your system, and I understand it's Valentine's Day, you might need to do that. Boo the ever-loving crap out of these judges. Let me get your best boo. See, everyone always does the boo louder than the cheer, and I never understand it. But you guys have the gist of it, so I appreciate you. Yes, you, random person on the 3rd row staring at me right now. I appreciate you as well. Yes, I'm talking about you. If you think I'm talking about you, I am. But before we get started, because of what day it is, and because we didn't want to, assuming somebody was actually happy with this blasted holiday, completely deprive them of love, would you allow me to read a poem for you before we get started? So throughout the course of the night, I'm going to present a new series of poems we're working on. This poem series is called Love Three Ways. This first poem is about the love of somebody you cannot have. I wrote this poem about 3 years ago. I hear laughing. Apparently I'm not alone in that, which is awesome. Solidarity is a good thing. I wrote this poem about somebody that I pined after for a very long time. It's on Earthquake. It's called 52nd Street. It goes something like this. Davis places the nickel into the meter. Says nothing. Walks to the corner and watches the sunset, the ocean of light receding to a beach the color of graves, saves his voice for someone he knew would be waiting there. Hello. Refracts through the air like a lighthouse through fog, and Belle says nothing. She's waiting for someone she does not even know to say love. Do you know the fault lines beneath New York City? Confused by the breaking of it all is when she will notice him there, playing echoes in the earth and tribute her tectonic skin. Davis is the most literal kind of player. Never one for big band, just steel strings in hand and her, his muse, hallowed heartbeat of a heart, thumping to the rhythm of black and blue ruckus, prayers to gods of memory loss and escape. Fate has on Davis miles away from himself. Kind of blue, or kind of silence, night. He has a million sacrifices to sound waves. Not knowing love's true name, he is a game. It gambles like the Lord is coming tomorrow, so we must vice well tonight. And Belle is bold in a sleepless city. Smiles bashfully and begins moving, dancing like she forgot what year it was, or what block she was on, or who she was waiting for. You, his hands, move up and down the neck of the instrument like a lover returned blind from the war as his case lies discarded as last night's mistakes on the sidewalk. He holds it firm, praying tonight is the night an upright bass becomes a love poem, thinking, wow, if looks could kill, he would be the Manhattan Project. And he'd be the last survivor, and she'd be the last thing he'd be left alive for, as he plucks strings like a puppeteer, and she dances like a liquid Pinocchio, only wanting to lie with him as the quake hits crescendo, and the notes become notes, strips of papyrus poems carved out in quartz. You are the rhythm always playing inside of me, and I lose this beat enough without throwing it away. This body is sheet music, and you sight read me flawlessly. Portland did not get arrested that night. He did not get too many parking tickets and lose his car or his jazz spot. Gave the midnight lovers a place to go in the middle of their orchestra to not allow the light to follow them across the street. Belle dares the gods to snatch the poems from her hands, falls into him like a suicide. Back first, his hands move up and down her neck. His instrument, his lover, his instrument, his lover, 52nd Street, lies scattered like a deck of cards waiting to be picked up, all that jazz. What is a handful of clubs to a royal flush? Love, Davis says. Do you know about the fault lines beneath New York City? The downbeat rumbles. He takes her by the hand and says, it took God 6 days to close these wounds. And one night, I reopened them just for you. Thank you. Before we get into the slam proper, we have one last thing to do. It's not more rules. There's not any more rules. You don't have to worry. But we do have what is called a sacrificial poet or a calibration poet that is going to come up, give us a poem, and our judges are going to score it as if he is in the competition. He is not, but he will be how you get a barometer for how you will be scoring tonight. Sound good for everybody? Yeah. So this poet coming up is from the UNC Asheville Slam team, very graciously offered to be our sacrifice tonight. Everybody give a long round of applause for Deborah.
My dick is huge. My dick can plug the ozone layer and rain fire upon all the countries that don't qualify to join the United Nations. There are ancient Egyptian monuments constructed to foretell the existence of my dick, and pyramids filled with pharaohs who couldn't measure up. The Great Wall of China and my dick can be seen from space, but female astronauts don't blow a kiss goodnight to the Great Wall of China. My dick builds perpetual motion machines before my morning wood even wears off. My dick could have saved Abraham Lincoln's life if it hadn't been cast as the leading role in the play he was watching. And when I am in the bedroom, my dick is 6 inches long. I'm honest in the bedroom. But on stage, my dick can bust speakers and bend microphone stands. I can extend my dick across stadiums, swinging and swaying until it smacks into the head of anyone who isn't smart enough to duck. I'm a major leaguer, brandishing all the promise you ever needed to sign me, support me, and fall in love. I perform poetry because I get off on all this. I indulge my autoeroticism in 3-minute bursts while you snap from me and clap for me. Before you erupted headboard-shaking personal affirmation, I store each of your faces in the bank of my degenerate mind to color my fantasies. I close my eyes, I think of touching you. The people who came here to watch me strip and scream about how much I like the pain. I want you to tie me up and look at me. Please, look at me. Look at me the way Cassie McSwain didn't look at me during the 7th grade. Look at me the way Heather Craig wouldn't look at me after May 20th, 2013. Look at me the way my ex-fiance used to look at me before she started dating fucking Heather Craig. Look at me the way my father doesn't look at me. Then tell me I matter. Tell me I matter. Then pay me to rub your masochism and lick your ego while I moan about my psychosis until the handcuffs cut my veins and my last breath blows out all the candles. I perform poetry because it's the only thing that has ever made me feel alive that didn't leave before I woke up the next morning. My knees are getting bruised. I want to empty out my soul, but